Fam, what's going on? It's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Could I get a roll tide inside the comment box? I'm coming to you a little bit blue from Santa Fe, New Mexico. See if we can fix the lighting, but I appreciate you guys being here on the show. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. That's a little bit better. I thought it was going to be a blue Christmas. We still look. This is a different setup. I appreciate you guys being here. As I told you guys yesterday, and let me know about the sound check inside the comment box. Make sure everybody's coming in nice and clean. I appreciate it. Yeah, this is my mom's house. Made it to Santa Fe, New Mexico last night. So we flew from Birmingham to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I appreciate you guys rocking with me right here on Bama Football on YouTube. And I appreciate you guys rocking with us all this December. There's a ton of news that we've been covering today on the show. We're going to talk about Isaiah Horton, who just got to Tuscaloosa today, which is clearly somebody that would be impactful if Alabama is able to bring in the 6'4" wide receiver from Miami. We're also going to give a little bit of an appreciation on Jam Miller, right? The running back who announced yesterday that he is coming back for 2025. We're going to talk about SEC parody and kind of the way that I feel that honestly being in the SEC, as great as it is to play against competitive competition, most of the season, I think that is hurting Alabama football in general. And I kind of have a far out idea that I want to run past you. Also going to talk about Nakai Hill-Green. He is out of Colorado. He's been a couple places. He's in town. He's an inside linebacker. And let me know where you guys are watching from inside the comment box. I appreciate you guys. Let me know if you've ever been to New Mexico inside the comment box, or Santa Fe. And I just saw also this morning, the Branch brothers are going to be visiting Georgia. I think that is significant news. I don't want the Branch brothers to go to Georgia, considering Alabama plays in Athens this coming season. You have a couple other prospects that we are watching, maybe on commitment watch, and that's two offensive linemen, Dewberry and Toffee. We'll talk about more of those guys as well. And then on the back end of the show, we'll talk college football playoffs. Indiana taking on Notre Dame in the Indiana State Championship game. That game is actually tonight. So I appreciate you guys being here on the show. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Could I get a roll tide inside the comment box? Thanks for being here. And I do have T. I have Caden. I have Lacey, all kicking it here. But I'm going to need your help, fam. We need another microphone. All right. So I appreciate, the super chats today. We got to get T back on. So if you want T's lovely voice and what she brings, we just need a little microphone. So we might have to make a little run to Best Buy today. Appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to try something different today because I'm on a different system. And I see you guys inside the comment box. And thank you very much to the 139 that are up in here. Let's try to go full screen. And I would like to show you guys what we're talking about in terms of Isaiah Horton. And I think this indicator of kind of where we stand. And let's see if we can bring this up. Okay, you guys see me down here? All right, appreciate you guys being here. All right, thumbs up right now inside the comment box if you think, and T, if you could add this inside the comment box, if you think that Isaiah Horton will commit to Alabama. Now, I'm sure you see it out there as well, the sites you read and everything that we've been talking about. Isaiah Horton is a must-get prospect, I feel. And when you look at the Alabama wide receiver room, as we continue to highlight, you have players there. I have no idea what's going to happen with KC Conception, but I think when I look to a healthy wide receiver room for 2025, which you don't have, you bring in Isaiah Horton, he just brings in another element to work with this Alabama receiving unit. I mean, you get excited just thinking about Jeremy Bernard coming back, Isaiah Horton, of course, Ryan Williams, who was already on the Bolitnikoff Award or the Bolitnikoff watch this year as a freshman. You think about a rising Jalen Hell. You think of, a healthy Cole Adams, right? You get excited about this receiving unit. Now, when you look to Isaiah Horton and who Alabama is really competing against, I think now Texas A&M is also in the equation, right? And Texas A&M is going to be a team that it seems like they really want wide receivers. They got Mario Craver, which I don't think was a loss. He visited here earlier this week, and then he commits to Texas A&M. Didn't see that as a big loss. But I think when you're looking to Isaiah Horton, look, he probably wants to come to an offense that can run top level under Coach Kalen DeBoer, and of course a new quarterback that can operate the offense. But I think when you're looking at Texas A&M, you got to think too that NIL is going to play a major factor, as it does with everybody, right? So Greg Byrne announced this morning, hey, Marcus, what's up, man? I appreciate you. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it, man. 50 spot to get things going. Thank you so much. NIL is going to play a factor with Isaiah Horton, as it is going to with all top end wide receivers. Now, I continue to say this. Look, I don't know. I haven't seen an update on KC Conception. I don't think you guys have either. But if Alabama was to miss on Isaiah Horton, I think it would be impactful. I think it would be a bummer. But I don't think that's like the end all, because as I'll show you on the graphics coming up, you do have a loaded wide receiver room. You're just kind of basically stacking cherries on cherries because the room is really good. Hey, Carter Production, everybody up in the house, if you're just joined, we got 200 up in the house. I am in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I'm at my mom's house. We're here visiting for the Christmas season, so I appreciate you guys being here. And we'll still have our regularly scheduled content. I just kind of have a different setup. It looks like I might need a little bit more light. But we try to do everything at a very high level. And the most important thing to us is the audio. So I appreciate you guys rocking with us, and bringing you to the graphic is also a component that we want to do right here on Bama Football on YouTube. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys. And we will still have coverage and news as it happens. Now, you have to understand, too, news happens when I'm in different spots. So whether I'm coming vertical or on a short or live, like, I got you covered, and I appreciate you guys being here. So let me ask you, just straight up inside the comment box, do you feel that Alabama will get Isaiah Horton? Type Y for yes and type N for no. And if you're not sure, just type unsure. I think that, look, the top end guys, anytime you see RPM predictions from like a Tim Watts or like a Andrew Bone or a Matt Zenitz, of course, Hayes will be the guy who breaks the news. But any of these top level guys, you feel really confident because they have a very low miss rate. Now, when you see Texas A&M jump into the equation, I think that that's noteworthy, because Texas A&M, let's say Alabama goes in, and look, I get it. Greg Byrne, I think his initial message, it might have been misunderstood, like Alabama's broke. Alabama's not broke. Clearly, I think they're trying to get more active, memberships and be more productive. And they want to be the top end of NIL, right? Will that happen? I have no idea. Is that the right way to do it? I guess in this business model, yes, we've talked about that before. We'll probably hit on it again. But Alabama, if they wanted to if Alabama really wanted to go all in on somebody, whether that's a right tackle, whether that's Isaiah Horton, they're going to do that. And they have money to do that. They're not broke. But I think when you're going up against Texas A&M, the worst thing about going against Texas A&M and the SEC is the copious amounts of money that A&M and Texas has. It's always going to put you at a disadvantage, because those teams, like, you're like, okay, let's give, and I have no idea if this number is the truth, but you're like, let's go with, $5 million, like not $5 million, like $4 million. What if Texas A&M would be like, yo, we'll give you $8 million. We'll give you $8 million. We'll give you $10 million if you stay 2 years. Guy has 2 years of eligibility. We'll give you $10 million, and we'll guarantee you that you're going to catch 70 balls. You're going to be the guy that we feature as our number one guy every single week, right? We're going to structure the entire offense around you. We get into the red zone, we are going to throw the ball to you. And I think when you're looking at Alabama, you look at the wide receiver room and you're like, man, you're absolutely loaded, whether you get Isaiah Horton or not. So look, Texas A&M in the equation. What's going to happen during this week when Horton gets here? And I think this is how you sell Horton. Number one, you link him up with, the new quarterback, right? The quarterbacks that are there, Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, those guys are there. And you kind of give him a rundown of how the offense is going to be different from this year to next year. And then you also loop in Keelan Russell, and you get those two guys together on a Zoom or whatever, and you start to talk about those guys. You start to show them some film. You get them with Jamarcus Shepard, and you're like, look, Jamarcus Shepard can continue to develop you into the NFL player that you're going to be. And I think number three, you point to one of these graphics. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit, but I just want to showcase something, okay? I think you showcase this. You're like, look, this is the goal for Alabama football in 2025, okay? We want to distribute the football. And you see this where it says receptions. It's yellow all the way down. Look at that. You see this T? Okay, so you have Romaduze, right? 92 receptions. Polk had 69, 46, 45, 34. And I think you show him this, and you're like, this is what we want to do in terms of wide receiver production, which is completely different from this year. This year it was just Milroe to Ryan Williams or Milroe to Jeremy Bernard. With the next guy coming in, you show him this, and you're like, look, this is the outline. This is what we're going to do. You're going to get fed. Every single game, you're going to get fed. And I think you show this to all the wide receivers on board. So just something that I think you sell him on. And I think you sell him on Coach Kalen DeBoer. And you're like, look, you know, I understand how you were used in Miami. You see him down here at the bottom of your screen, used on a nice post to get inside. This was a touchdown. He caught 9 receptions against Cal. We're talking about Isaiah Horton, who is here in Tuscaloosa. Big-time wide receiver, big-time playmaker that Alabama wants and is actively recruiting as of today. This particular graphic, you again have him on the outside, and, you know, Cam Ward. You look at this. Cal was up on this game 38-18, and Miami still came back to win. But you know, Isaiah Horton, you could use him in a variety of different places. So when I'm trying to sell Isaiah Horton to come here, you know, you mentioned the offense. You tell him he's going to get fed. You continue to talk about the brand of Alabama football, right? The brand, once you play at Alabama football, you know, all eyes are on you. You saw all the TV ratings, and I get it. Texas A&M now with the SEC. That's what makes it so competitive, along with the fact that, you know, Texas A&M, they're going to be a quality team as well. So Alabama, Texas A&M, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Isaiah Horton. What are people saying to you in terms of the overall, you know, who Isaiah Horton is going to end up with? Are they saying more like Texas A&M? Maybe you could start a poll. Okay. Yeah, maybe start a poll. And again, we'll get T back on. We're going to, you know, do some errands today. We might go get another microphone. So we'll get T back on the screen. Here's a look at targets that Alabama has been targeting inside the transfer portal. Now, there's a lot of news. So what I want to do, and one of my goals is to always keep it organized in terms of what you're seeing. So green represents players that Alabama has either landed or prospects that are being predicted to come to Alabama. So you have Cameron Calhoun, defensive back. He's committed clearly to Alabama. Kelby Collins committed to Alabama. And then you have Isaiah Horton, who has been predicted to come to Alabama. Guys in yellow, either off the board or committed somewhere else, like a Gabe Brownlow, in case you missed that, defensive lineman, committed to Texas A&M. And Alabama's been going head-to-head with Texas A&M, straight up. I mean, you look at Mario Craver, he committed to Texas A&M as well. And then you have 2 guys that I'll mention here in just a minute. Khalid Hafi, who's an offensive lineman out of Washington, and Cam Dewberry out of Texas A&M. Those guys visited just recently here in Tuscaloosa. Okay, so kind of give you a snapshot of the prospects that Alabama is targeting. And look, I want to say this too. If you look at this board and you don't see somebody that you're like really, really excited about, I would say be patient, because you have teams that are still playing in the playoffs, right? That after they lose, players are going to hit the portal, right? You saw that report yesterday by Mike Johnson, you know, former All-American here at Alabama, saying that he knows that there's certain teams that are paying their players actively to stay on the roster so they can practice during the playoffs. So this stuff is happening. So remember, playoff teams are about to hit the transfer portal as well. And maybe there's a right tackle that we're looking for inside the transfer portal that we haven't even thought about. Okay. Showed you a couple of different ways that Isaiah Horton was utilized, you know, this season, 6'4". Someone said inside the comment box that he's 6'5". I don't know. I mean, but my goodness, you know, excited about that. How we looking inside the comment box? What's up to everybody? You got Byron coming in. What's up, man? I appreciate it. Marcus, Kimberly, Jeff, Jay Bake. What's up? Chris Waltman. What's going on? Kirby Jones. That's what's up, man. I appreciate you guys being here. And again, Marcus in with the 50 super chat. Appreciate you guys being here. To everybody up in the undefeated joining our show. Today is Friday. It is December 20th. You got some playoff football taking place today. I put up this graphic to showcase how Alabama's wide receivers could look, right, this coming season. And you have to understand that Jeremy Bernard, while he hasn't put out an official announcement, I'm hearing that he's going to come back. Can things change? Of course. But Jeremy Bernard, if he comes back, this is theoretically how the Alabama wide receivers could look. I put Russell at quarterback. I'm not trying to start like a huge quarterback flame war. A lot of people are like, hey, I want Simpson back there. you put Russell. Coach Kalen DeBoer's job is to put the best quarterback there. So put the quarterback that you want in this particular graphic. Alabama didn't go 5 wide many times. In fact, they didn't this past season. When you have these wide receivers illustrated on the screen, the top wide receiver was actually Josh Cuevas. So I just messed around and put some wide receivers that I thought would make sense. My camera is actually covering up Ryan Williams, who's down at the far bottom of the screen. But if you work from the bottom, my camera, Ryan Williams, close to the boundary, Jalen Hell, Cole Adams, or Jalen Mbakwe. Angel, he's down at the bottom. So Ryan Williams is like right here. This is where Ryan Williams is. Can you see him right here? Does that make sense to you? Ryan Williams. And then you have Jalen Hell up top. Cole Adams or Jalen Mbakwe, Isaiah Horton, and Jeremy Bernard. Look, am I saying they're going to go all 5 wide and just throw the football a million different times? No, but I think if they have to, situational football, they can do that. Now, remember this. In the offense that Coach Kalen DeBoer ran a couple years ago, look, I show you this graphic again because look how many wide receivers had opportunities, but look at number 6. That's Dylan Johnson. Very important, okay? 233 carries when all these guys were getting fed and still almost 1,200 yards rushing with 16 touchdowns. This was an offense that operated on such a high level, and I think that's what you continue to sell the team on for next year, right? Do you think Coach Kalen DeBoer wants to go back to this offensive system? Hell yeah, 100%. We know what he was doing this year. He was playing with the quarterback that gave him the best opportunity to win based off his certain skill set. But we haven't seen Coach Kalen DeBoer's offense. We haven't, period. Okay? So just be patient. Here's a look at the Alabama wide receiver room versus Michigan in this upcoming ReliaQuest Bowl. As you'll notice, if you put your hand over Jalen Mbakwe, you really only have 4 wide receivers that would be healthy to play in this game. They added Jalen Mbakwe. Clearly, he wants to play on the offensive side of the ball, but you almost need somebody to come play on the offensive side of the ball. So, look, Cole Adams out, Jalen Hell out, Bubba Hampton out, Amari Jefferson out for this game, Latair Brooks, Derek Meadows not eligible to play in this game. Plus, they won't even get here until January. But Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams, Jalen Mbakwe, Rico Scott, Jaron Hamilton, those are your receivers against Michigan. Someone inside the comment box was like, look, well, they only throw to 2 wide receivers, so what difference does it make? I'm like, fair point. But, from a situational standpoint, this is what it looks like. And do I feel personally that Jalen Mbakwe is going to play against Michigan at wide receiver? Hell yeah, I do. Yeah, I would imagine he makes some plays too. Who saw Jalen Mbakwe and Ryan Williams? They had the keys to the stadium. Right? It is their playground. They went and they were able to play Fortnite at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Who saw that last night? I know that this is the fun place. They hit the big screens and they're able to play. All right. And Jaron Hamilton, if you play this silly football game, NCAA football, Jaron Hamilton, so as you go forward in that game, the second year when you have Ryan Williams, Jalen Hell, and Jaron Hamilton, I absolutely cooked with those wide receivers. And what I did was I moved Caleb Odom to tight end, and he was cooking too. Now you saw he's committed to Ole Miss. Brian, what's up, man? We got Tobias in from Germany. Tobias has been a long time fan. We appreciate you being here, man. Sarah, what's up? Good morning to you. Samuel, inside the comment box, and Sammy, what's going on, man? I appreciate you so much. And we have viewers all over the world. A lot of people that serve this great country that are away from their family during the holiday season or even Christmas. We appreciate you guys. And I always say this too. I'm a very patriotic person. I'm not that political of a person, but like being like showing patriotism for me is like flying a flag outside of my house because I understand that freedom isn't free. And there's a lot of people that are away from their families during this holiday season. And I really appreciate you, defending this great country. Freedom isn't free. And I really, civilian salute to you. So I appreciate you guys being here. We have a big veterans board. I think we need to bring that back. We haven't showcased that. So it's always Veteran Day right here on Bama Football on YouTube. We appreciate you guys. 309 here. I'm only going to say it one time. Please hit the thumbs up. So just pause right now, hit the thumbs up on this video. It helps the video's performance. It supports us. And we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. The wide receiver room, what it could look like in 2025 if Isaiah Horton comes in. Yeah, look, like put your 3 best out, put your 5 best out. Like these guys would cook. This would be one of the top wide receiver rooms, if not the best. Now you get KC Conception in here. Holy cow. I don't know how you get all these guys to football. They did it at Washington. Some guys got to step out. And I kind of wonder too, this is just a theory of my own, okay? I'm not saying this is going to happen. I have no, nobody told me this. No source told me this. But did you get your slot wide receiver in Jalen Mbakwe? Because I was thinking about this. If Alabama had to pay, or restructure Jalen Mbakwe to come back here, does that mean that Jalen Mbakwe is coming as a receiver, kind of, right? Rather than KC Conception? And maybe you still bring in Isaiah Horton as a different type of wide receiver, but maybe that's kind of the holdup on KC. I have no idea. But I was just thinking about that. I was like, maybe Alabama got their transfer in from the defensive side of the ball to the offense. Does that make sense? Like maybe you're not getting KC. Or I have no idea. I haven't heard an update at all on KC. I'm just saying, maybe you did get your wide receiver. So, and who wouldn't love to have Isaiah Horton and KC and Jimmy Bernard and Ryan Williams and Jalen Mbakwe and all these guys? So let's see. We'll continue to keep you posted. Look, Isaiah Horton, he's in Tuscaloosa today. He's going to go visit Texas A&M. I'm sure they're going to offer him a bag. So let's see what happens. We'll continue to keep you posted, but all the big recruiting sites have predicted Isaiah Horton to come to Alabama. All right. I wanted to do something real quick. And I feel that I'm the type of guy, I really have to work hard every single day. And I love that. I like to wake up early. I like to grind. In fact, this isn't something that I share with you guys, but I threw my back out. So it's been tough because those morning workouts are so important to me. I would never ask you to play the poor me's for me, right? But rather see it in terms of like somebody who works hard for a living to support, their family. And I don't like entitlement at all. That's why I love a player like Jam Miller. And I feel that while Alabama, I think it's cool that they showcase Ryan Williams and Jalen Mbakwe playing video games and stuff like that. It probably lead to a NIL deal with Nintendo. I was thinking because they kept showing the Nintendo. But I was thinking about this, and look, I love what those guys got doing, and the New Wave podcast and all that stuff. That's amazing. That is next level stuff for branding for those players. I feel though, if I was to do a video right now for Alabama, I would be cognizant of the time of what's happening right now in college football, because Alabama's not in the playoffs. They're not in the playoffs. In my opinion, and this is my opinion. I'm not saying that I have anything against Ryan and Jalen, okay? I'm just saying the message, what type of message is Alabama football sending? This is a time to play video games, and this is a time to have fun and all this stuff. Look, I would do a video of Jam Miller in the weight room with the lights off and saying, back to work, back to the standard, didn't get it, and have the playoffs in Alabama out. And be like, we got to get back to the standard. We got to get back to the hunger. There was no time for video games. There's no time for distractions. This is high level football. This isn't going to be the fun school. This is a place that isn't for fun. This is a place for business. This is a place for development. This is a place for next level training to the NFL. And if we don't make the playoffs and we don't lose and we don't beat all of our rivals, and if we don't win an SEC championship, that is not the standard. Right? The pyramid is winning the SEC championship, making the playoffs, winning the national championship. This is a place of business. And I think a lot of times you're like, this is the fun place to come, and you can have fun, and you can play video games on the screen and stuff like that. Look, that's fine. Alabama needs to be thought of a place of NFL development, playoffs, and national championships, period. So I would love to see the creative video team make a video of Jam Miller, one of these players who has not showed any type of entitlement, who has been that dog mentality of working, right? This guy could have complained. It would be hard for me not to complain if I was Jam Miller and I wasn't getting fed this year, right? How many times is Alabama inside the red zone and you get a quarterback keeper to the outside? You hear Jam Miller go to social media or something like that and start crying? I didn't. This guy's coming back and he's like, he wants to play. How do you even know this guy is fully healthy? Right? Finally, they gave him 28 carries on the back end. But man, you got to get back to the basics. The basics is the gym. The basics is dog mentality and having knowledge that you're not in the playoffs. And you got to, and when you're watching these teams play, you're not in the playoffs. You're not, period. And if you don't make the playoffs next year, which I think is going to be really hard to do, honestly, I really think it's going to, because I think next year's schedule is harder than this year's. Okay? Get back to the basics. Get back to the weight room, right? Have that dog mentality. I just wanted to show an appreciation for Jam Miller because, I think he's still underrated. I think he catches the football very well. I like to see that he had 28 carries, but my goodness, get the quarterback and get Jam Miller and Richard Young a right tackle that can play at the highest level opposite side of Caden Proctor. Because if you don't figure out this right tackle position, you're going to be in the same situation that you were this past season. Now, a lot of this was on Jalen Milroe, 100%. A lot of it was the fact that you didn't have a right tackle 100%. Okay. So, this next schedule, think about this. You don't make the season, that you don't make the playoffs 2 years in a row. What type of message is that going to send for the overall brand? Man, get back to work. And that's just why I'm saying, like, you have to be cognizant if you're Alabama football, like, man, you're singing and dancing and having fun. Teams are playing in the playoffs today. Teams are playing in the playoffs on Saturday. Okay. There's a big difference from making the playoffs and playing in the ReliaQuest Bowl. You are one bowl away from playing in the Cheez-Its Bowl. All right. And I'm sorry because you're not going to see a lot of people say that because they want to be friends with Alabama. They want to continue to be nice with the coaches and all that shit. I want to tell the truth, the good and the bad. And this has nothing to do with Ryan Williams or Jalen Mbakwe. Love those kids. I was just talking to T yesterday. I think that Ryan Williams and the talent that he has, I've never seen it before. The plays that he made, and you saw Josh Pate's, Sarah McLaughlin, Arms of the Angel with Ryan Williams. Dude, I've never seen a young man make plays like that. Never. I haven't seen too much of what Jalen Mbakwe can do, but I am glad that Alabama kept him because you do not want him going to Ole Miss. That's just something that I had to say. I appreciate you guys being here. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Let me hit on this too. Okay, so I started thinking about this too, and I haven't heard this. I haven't seen this out there. I think we got a super chat. I'll go ahead and read it out because we're still crowd surfing T's new microphone. But Christmas is coming up, T. You might get early Christmas present microphone, whatever girl wants. Just kidding. Professional certified hater saying with the 499 super chat, I love Ryan Williams and Saban's Bama was elite because even if you won 11 or 12 games or won a playoff game, if there was no natty, it was a failure, 100%. And you see guys who play at the highest level like Kobe Bryant, like, God bless. I love listening to Kobe Bryant. Any type of books, any type of knowledge that I could still hear from him, he will win. He will win. And what would he say inside the comment box? If you know about a Mamba mentality, he win the title. And what would he say inside the comment box? What would he say? What would he do? Where would he be the next day after he won the title game? Thank you. Job's not done. Job's not finished. And he'd be back in the gym the next day. He would be back in the gym. Isn't that crazy? You win. You're like, and I'm sure he went to Disney World and all that stuff. I mean, I know they like live there, but you see what I'm saying? He would be back at work the next day. All right. So, okay, my next thing is talking about the SEC. I feel that being in the SEC is penalizing a lot of these teams. I was reading over the contract of Alabama football, really the SEC and ABC, okay? It's a 10-year deal, okay? 10-year deal. Oh, Kyle J, I think they're in the weight room already, 100%. I'm just saying from the overall message, they need to like put that as like, this is a place of development, right? Oh, but they're guaranteed in the gym, 100%. They were practicing yesterday. When they put their stuff out, they said business day. But I was thinking about this. Look, when you look to the SEC and ABC, it's a mega TV contract. It goes for 10 years, okay? 10 years. But you are not taking the best 12 teams into the playoffs. You're making all the conferences happy, including the independents, right? Independent conference happy, Notre Dame, right? So I was thinking about this. Why doesn't could you imagine if it was Alabama or Ole Miss? I could see Ole Miss doing this just because Lane doesn't give like 0 Fs, right? And he kind of like does things a different way. And I was thinking about this. I think that what if Ole Miss did this? What if Ole Miss left? It would be better if Alabama did it. So let me do it, Alabama. What if Alabama left the SEC, okay? And they went independent and they left their ABC contract, okay? And they went to NBC and they're like, hey, we will be independent. We will play right after Notre Dame. So you get Notre Dame football and you get Alabama football and back to back. And that's our TV contract with NBC. You still get your Mega Millions. People would love to see Notre Dame and then follow Alabama football on the back end of NBC, right? And then what you could do is you could keep your Auburn game at the way back of the season, right? But then you could schedule Western Kentucky. You could schedule South Florida again. You could schedule Mercer. You could schedule Rice. You could schedule Houston. You could schedule maybe like a UCLA or I don't know, a team from. You could go up and play Bill Belichick from North Carolina. My point is, if you went independent and linked up with the NBC, then you would make the playoffs every single year. Like Notre Dame, you think 2 teams already, 3 teams. 3 teams in the playoffs next year. Notre Dame, Boise State, and Oregon. Because they don't play anybody. Or it's going to be UNLV and Dan Mullen who upsets Boise State. But I was thinking the SEC parity, the teams are so good and this league is so strong, it's hurting the teams that are 3, 4, and 5. It's even hurting the teams who had to win the SEC championship game because that's another basic playoff game. And you see injuries are going to add up in high-level contests. You see what I'm saying? Like, think about it. Georgia's out without their quarterback. So I think that's just kind of what I'm thinking is like the SEC, I think sometimes, like right now, based on how teams make the playoffs, it's hurting Alabama. And when you look to Alabama's football schedule, I could show you it if you want. I think Alabama's football schedule is going to be more challenging for Alabama to make the playoffs in 2025 than it was this past season. The only reason Alabama didn't make the playoffs in 2024 was, say it with me, the loss to Oklahoma, period. That's why they didn't make it, because they felt that Alabama played poor on the offense and on the defense and got their butts kicked by an unranked team 24-3. He even scored a touchdown. That's why they didn't make the playoffs. They took SMU because SMU was 11-2, played in the weak ACC, and came back and nearly took that game into overtime. That's it. Next year is going to be way harder to make the playoffs. And you know what? The teams on the schedule next year, look at the quarterbacks. Diego Pavia's back, okay? You go to Georgia, you go to South Carolina, you go to Missouri, you host LSU and Garrett Nussmeier, okay? Tyler Meek, the best quarterback in the transfer portal, went to Oklahoma, and Jackson Arnold, who ran all over Alabama last season at Oklahoma, is going to link up with Hugh Freeze at the Barn. I just think it's a really challenging schedule for next year. Nakai Hill-Green in town for the Alabama Crimson Tide as well. This is a high-level prospect. I think when you look to prospects that you also want to get from the transfer portal, I would say this is probably like the 8 to 10 range because of the fact that I've showcased to you that Alabama needs another inside linebacker. No disrespect against Jeremiah Alexander, Justin Okoronkwo, or Caden Jones. And I have no idea if Justin Jefferson would like to fight the NCAA and be like, yo, came from the JUCO route, I should still be able to play because of NIL. Basically what Diego Pavia did. I hope that would be the case because then you would have Justin Jefferson and Deontay Lawson. I can't see Deontay Lawson going to the NFL following his injury, but Nakai Hill-Green, 6'2", 230 pounds, last season, 671 snaps in 2024, second all Big 12 with the Buffs, defensive grade of 61.9. Little low, 76 tackles this past year. He was second, as I said, in all Big 12 with the Colorado Buffs. He was with Colorado. Look, this is New World College Football. He was with Colorado in 2024. He was with Charlotte in 2023. And he was at Michigan in 2022 and 2021. All right, so guy's been around the place. He's in town this week. I think he got in today as well. You get Horton, you get Nakai Hill-Green. things are absolutely popping. Okay. So that's something to certainly watch. Two offensive linemen that Alabama is watching as well, and guys who visited this week. Khalid Toffee out of Washington, 6'5", 338 pounds, 286 snaps at left tackle mostly. His pass blocking grade, little concerning on Pro Football Focus of only 40.2. I don't know if this is like the main guy off the board. I know that Coach Kalen DeBoer recruited him during his his recruiting process. I'm sure, Parker Brailsford would love to have him here. Josh Cuevas. You look at some of the guys that he brought from Washington, they all performed pretty well, right? Josh Cuevas, Parker Brailsford, Jeremy Bernard. Those guys played. So maybe Khalid Toffee. I think he's on commitment watch. I haven't seen any predictions or whatever, but I wouldn't be surprised if he pulls the trigger and commits to Alabama. On the right, you got Cam Dewberry out of Texas A&M, 6'4", 330 pounds, 261 snaps, right guard, left guard, 51 in pass blocking grade. And you look at who they're targeting, right? They want a left tackle or a right tackle, and they want a right guard, left guard. Cam Dewberry actually played some tackle too. To be honest, in the film that I've seen from these guys, I'm not like completely blown away. And I think I just have a little bit of like PTSD from the right tackle position that's last year. Is either one of these guys like a slam dunk? I have no idea. If they're recruiting them, they're not going to recruit average guys here. So maybe let's just be patient and see what other offensive and there's been some offensive tackles out there that Alabama really hasn't offered or went after. And I'm kind of interested to why that have seemed interested to me. But again, as I said, teams are in the playoffs right now. And once those teams start losing, more guys will hit the transfer portal. New additions to Alabama from the transfer portal. You got Cam Calhoun and Kelby Collins. Cam Calhoun, as we mentioned, he's a defensive back out of Utah. Started one game for the Utes. When I think of Utah, I think of hard-hitting defense. And then you got Kelby Collins, originally from Gardendale, who originally picked Florida over Alabama. I think people are excited about him because maybe that bandit position with LT Overton going out, and then Cam Calhoun with Damani Jackson if he does decide to go to the NFL. Again, the thing about roster management is we just don't know which players are going to the NFL because they haven't announced. That's the only reason. Before I go to this, I think I had a graphic on the Alabama defense. So here at the bottom, this is a look at what could be Alabama's defense going forward in 2025. Okay. At the bottom, I'll just mention because my camera's overlay over that, but you got Cam Calhoun, and I think he's going to have to battle for that starting spot. Now, this reads like Damani Jackson leaves, okay? So Cam Calhoun versus Deshaun Jones, maybe a Zay Mincy or a Dejon Lee. I think there's going to be a hell of a battle for that corner spot. If you work your way to the left at the bandit position, Kelby Collins, Jordan Renaud, Keon Keeley. While we all keep talking about Keon Keeley, please do not forget about Jordan Renaud. This guy, I think you could have a rotation there. I don't know, maybe one of these guys stands up and becomes the bandit, but I think this would be, a hell of a position battle to watch as well. A healthy Deontay Lawson at the inside linebacker position. And then this is where we are at right now with the inside linebacker position. Jeremiah Alexander, Justin Okoronkwo, baller, Caden Jones, baller. That's why I think if you get this Nakai Hill-Green out of Colorado, he could add some depth or even be the starter. If you get Justin Jefferson, all the best, right? In the back end at the safety position, Keon Sabb, a healthy Keon Sabb, and Bray Hubbard, who is just outstanding this season. And then at that Husky position, Red Morgan versus Deshaun Lee, or Deshaun Lee rather, or Deshaun Jones rather. And I'm curious to see who else competes for that Husky position. I don't know. And then up at the top, you got Xavier Brown, the corner who started every single year, or every single game for the Crimson Tide. What's up, Bo Roland? I appreciate you being here. War never changes. What's going on? Yeah, and I think right now, if you did like kind of an opinion poll of who your favorite players were, right, I think you would say Bray Hubbard. Bake J, what's up, man? I see you inside, or Blake J, I see you inside the comment box. Jalen Ibakwe has been moved to the offensive side. I think he'll play both sides of the ball, right? I think he'll play receiver in the bowl game, and I think in spring they'll continue to experiment. But I think Jalen Ibakwe being as talented enough. I mean, when we watch his highlights, he played quarterback, he played receiver, he played safety, corner. The guy is outstanding. Like, Nobody could ever deny, like, who's to say that Jalen Mbakwe couldn't be your next Travis Hunter type player? Is he as talented as Travis Hunter? Probably not right now, but the guy's a player, all right? Guy's an absolute player, all right? Byron is saying that there's a rumor yesterday they might be looking at the quarterback to replace Lonergan in the transfer portal. Interesting. I would be interested to see if they take the quarterback. Oh my goodness, people are going to go crazy. You know, if they would have actively went after this Tyler Meek player from Washington State, he would have came in and been the starter. Say what you want, he would have been the starter. That would have probably caused Keelan Russell to bounce out. That's how good that kid is. Jarvis is saying Damani comes back. You know, I've been thinking about that too. I really do. I mean, what's the difference between him and Jeremy Bernard on the other side of the ball? Like, those guys still, I think, have another year of development. LT Overton, I think he's got to go. But I like the defensive setup right here. I do. All right. Here's a look at the Alabama corners in 2025. Damani Jackson, again, like a stamp. Could he be going to the NFL? We don't know. Cam Calhoun comes in, Xavier Brown, Deshaun Jones, Zay Mincy, Dejon Lee, Chuck McDonald. It's a healthy room. I mean, you want to definitely spotlight these two guys right here, Dejon Lee and Chuck McDonald. Chuck McDonald won't be getting here to the summertime, and this Dejon Lee, my bad. Dejon Lee, sometimes I think we all have a tendency to get really excited about these freshmen and what they're bringing to the table. I think Dejon Lee I think he's going to be really good, right? JTL, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. All right, let's continue. I wanted to go back and look at these college football playoffs. Okay, so you have the college football playoffs taking place starting today with Notre Dame taking on Indiana. All right, who are you guys taking in this college football matchup for the playoffs? Please post right now. Are you taking Indiana or are you taking Notre Dame? I think the heavy favorite will say Notre Dame, right? I think Notre Dame, the last I checked this morning, was like a 6.5 point favorite to beat Indiana. Indiana lost one game this season. It was to the only top 25 team that they played, which was Ohio State. I think Notre Dame wins this game. I'm not per se a Notre Dame fan. I don't like the fact that they don't play in a conference. That really bothers me. They don't necessarily win, huge marquee games. The times that they played Alabama in the past, they were supposed to play Alabama really well. We knew that wouldn't be the case. I think Alabama would still beat Notre Dame if they played right now, this day, even despite the transfers out. I think Alabama would still beat Notre Dame. That's just my take. 7 versus 10. It'll be interesting. The winner pairs up against Georgia. Georgia not going to have Carson Beck for that game, so they're going to have their backup quarterback. They're having time to prepare for that game. So interesting stuff going on in that bottom side of the bracket. But I would be like utterly shocked if Notre Dame and Georgia play in this quarterfinal game and Notre Dame somehow to beat Georgia. Like, Georgia is going to do what they want against Notre Dame. Maybe not as much because they're missing Carson Beck, but you get what I'm saying. I feel a lot of people talking about seeing Notre Dame inside the comment box. One game where it's going to be 17. What's the temperature on this Notre Dame game? I haven't even checked tonight. And then you have SMU taking on Penn State. The way that I look at this game, I mean, is there anyone that thinks that SMU can beat Penn State? Honestly. I'm sure there's somebody out there. We have 324 watching. Is there anybody out there that thinks that SMU could beat Penn State? I really don't. I have been critical of Notre Dame. I have been critical of Penn State. I will say this: when I watched Penn State play Oregon, I was actually pretty impressed with Penn State, the way that they moved the football. I did like SMU a little bit when I watched them against Clemson. I thought they had some fight in them, clearly. They had some very athletic wide receivers that I even really know about. But I think their SMU is not there yet. Like, the game against Clemson was too big for them. So going into the playoff game on the road against Penn State, I think it's going to be too big for them. Penn State has a very good quarterback. That's one of the guys I like. But I think long-term, when you look to Penn State, and they have a nice setup. Look, let's just get ahead of ourselves for a minute, okay? Penn State, SMU. I think everybody's running with Penn State inside the comment box. Penn State, Boise State? Yo, I might be taking Penn State over Boise State. In fact, I know I will. And then you got Penn State versus Georgia's backup in the semis. Yo, that would be the biggest game that James Franklin has ever won in his life. Is if he's able to match up with Georgia somehow in the semifinals and be able to beat Kirby Smart. They would probably sign him to like a 50-year contract. But that bottom half of the playoffs just got interesting because Georgia's quarterback's out. So now you're looking kind of at Penn State, and if they handle things against on Saturday, man, and that's the crazy. Look, college football is broken in several different areas. The way that they pick the playoffs, transfer portal dates, the fact that players don't have to sign contracts, right? For all the NIL money. It's like why is the signing day window December 4th? Like, man, I like Nick Saban, can you help figure this stuff out for us, please? Like, is he the only like rationally minded human being out there that can fix this? Because I get it. Like where we're at right now, there's more parity, which I think makes it a little bit more interesting for now. But you know what I'm scared of? I'm scared of this is going to be when the NFL hit free agency and players just started going everywhere. Because there was a time where players used to be on the same team for years, like 5 to 7 years, you had the same team. You could go buy a Steve Young jersey or a Roger Craig jersey and wear that for 8 years. In the NFL, you could buy a jersey for like, I don't even know if a full season. You see what I'm saying? And that's what's going to, like, look at no disrespect to any of the players that are bouncing around, but like Nakai Hill Green, Michigan 2 seasons, Charlotte 1 season, Colorado 1 season, maybe Alabama another. Top side of the bracket, you got Ohio State taking on Tennessee. I know there's a lot of people feeling that Tennessee could beat Ohio State. I don't see it happening. I think Ohio State's able to win that game. And then you look at them versus Oregon. To be honest, I was pretty impressed with Oregon against Penn State too. I mean, my goodness, they had so many weapons. That quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, absolute baller, 100%. I would love to see that game. That is an interesting game. I think Ohio State has enough to beat Oregon. I don't think that they will. I don't know. That's going to be a really good game in that playoff game in the quarterfinals. And then you have, does anybody think that Tennessee beats Ohio State? I think those 8-9 games are always, they could go either way. So there's some people inside the comment box taking Tennessee, but not many. What's up, Josh Johnson? I appreciate you, man. Is this the Josh Johnson, like my boy from F3, Cowbell? That would make me so happy. If it's not, I'm still happy. It's you, Josh Johnson. So, but I have a friend named Josh Johnson who I work out with. Nope. All right. Well, Josh, we still cool. That's what's up. And yeah, there's an emoji in there that says balls suck. All right. Last game that we hit on up top is Texas taking on Clemson. There's some interesting things going on with Texas as well. Do you think that, and I'm sure you've seen this as well, is there any like truth to this? Do you think that Quinn Ewers, there's a possibility that he transfers? I saw that he could. The rumor is that Texas wants to start Arch Manning next season, which I get. He's like, he's their guy. But I think I saw the rumor that when Dylan Gabriel goes to the NFL, Quinn holds back and then he goes up and he signs a deal with Oregon to be their next quarterback. You see what I'm saying? They're saying Ewers is the problem. Yeah, I would say that it's kind of seeming like Quinn will transfer. Jarvis, I think so too. I think Quinn's ready for the NFL. So, and who's to say what type of deal he get for Oregon? Because Oregon's going to be, I don't know who their next quarterback is in line. But Marcus is right. Like you put Quinn with some of those weapons that they have. Oh, I think that would be absolutely dangerous. So Oregon has something special going on. Plus, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem like Oregon's schedule is ever hard. They never play like it. It doesn't seem to me like they play a really hard game. I don't know. Quincy, I'm 100% with you, man. I think that Arch Manning is the guy that they want to start. Number one, talent. He's a very good quarterback. But number two, branding. Like, think about the TV ratings and every single thing going in when you know that Manning is leading that team. That's what they're waiting for. As good as Quinn is, this guy has a win over Alabama. He's still secondary, in my mind, branding-wise, to Manning, right? So just my take. But look, the winner plays Arizona State. That's how messed up this bracket is. I've mentioned this. This dude, this coach for Arizona State, Dillingham, love everything that he's done. I love the energy, love the passion. But there is no way that Arizona State or Boise State should have buys. This is not right. Like, this isn't how it's supposed to be done. It's supposed to be the 12 best teams. But what we learned is that it's the 12 best teams from the conferences. And I see you, Jay Music. What's up inside the comment box? I'll probably have a call-in show at some point. I need to work on at my mom's house. My mom's house is. I love coming back here. My grandfather, who passed away this year, just the last month, he passed away peacefully at 84. He built this house. Yeah, and when I end, I'll show you just the inside real quick, because you talk about somebody who like worked with his hands, who built, like my grandpa built this house. But one of the but this isn't how it's supposed to be done. Like, Arizona State's not supposed to have a bye. Boise State's not supposed to have a bye. Like, come on. So I don't like that. I'm over the fact that Alabama didn't get in the playoffs. I really am. That doesn't bother me. They shouldn't have put themselves in that position. They should have prepared better to beat Oklahoma. That's all past. That I'm going to go back and always think of not the Vanderbilt game, the Oklahoma game. That was the game that did it. So you move forward, and I still don't think that we've seen Alabama be as capable as they could be on the field. And I think that's coming. Next year, schedule is going to be ultra challenging, and that's just the way it's going to be for the teams that play in the SEC period. And we'll see if Alabama can make the playoffs in 2025. But to recap the headlines, you got Isaiah Horton. So stay close to your recruiting side. Stay close to Bama Football on YouTube. Please hit the subscription button, because Isaiah Horton could be on commitment watch at any point in time. I know he's visiting Texas A&M, which makes things, maybe a little bit nervous. I talked about Jan Miller. I just had to give a shout out. And look, I might start doing this in terms of the guys that, really haven't been getting like my next tomorrow, I might be talking about Bray Hubbard, or I might be talking about Ty Simpson. And I'm talking about guys who are just in the lab. There's a lot of guys to go over, but I want to spotlight some of these guys who are just in the grind, in the craft, and there's a lot of them. And I just think that, there's a lot of guys on this team, probably everybody, that understands the magnitude of not making the playoffs. Whether you see stuff on, social media or whatever, these guys, they don't want to be watching playoff games on TV. These guys want to be in the playoffs. I talked about the SEC parity and, how it hurts Alabama, just because they're not going to take the best 5 from the SEC, right? You don't make the top 3, you're probably not making the playoffs. Talked about Dewberry and Toffee, right? And the Branch brothers visiting Georgia, which is definitely scary. I mean, you don't want Zachariah Branch going to Georgia, okay? You don't want that, right? Because Alabama's going to Georgia next year. You don't want to have to worry about trying to cover up Zachariah Branch, right? How many Alabama players hit the transfer portal? Cody's asking. I think I have. I can run through a graphic real quick. I don't know what slide it is, T, but I'll try to find it real fast. Here's kind of an update on the players that have hit the transfer portal. I think I still need to update a couple graphics in here, but right now, Alabama up to 14 that have hit the transfer portal. The interesting, what was weird was the stuff with Damon Payne, right? So Damon Payne, he committed to Michigan, and then the paperwork got nullified. Yeah. So I don't know, what that's all about. But Dylan Lonergan at Boston College. Don't know where Justice Haynes is going. Hopefully not Ole Miss, and hopefully not South Carolina. Kobe Prentice to Baylor. Kendrick Law. Did someone say Kendrick Law committed? Fam, did Kendrick Law commit when I was in the airplane? All right. Caleb Odom to Ole Miss. I was thinking about Lane Kiffin. He took 2 Calebs from Alabama, right? He took Caleb Odom and he took Caleb Cunningham. Each of those guys are going to start for Lane Kiffin this coming season, right? Oh, Jarvis is saying Kendrick Law is predicted to Kentucky. Okay. All right. Thank you. Manuel Henderson, I saw he's visiting Kansas State, Kansas, and there was someone else. I can't think of it. Miles McVay, I know he's been linked to Illinois, and there was someone else. Naquil Bentrade going out to Syracuse. Jaheim Otis to Colorado. Hunter Osborne, undecided. Keanu Coate, Vanderbilt. Jalil Hurley, Kansas, and Devontae Smith, Notre Dame. So those are where the transfers that have gone. So I appreciate you guys asking, the feedback. I'm going to leave these next, 2 minutes, 3 minutes for a couple of questions inside the comment box. So if you have a question for me that you like dying to ask, I'll get to you inside the comment box. And while you guys do that, ask a question. I'm going to show you just a quick inside of the house that my grandfather built. I'm going to go that way, sweetheart. All right, thank you. All right, so check this out. So this is so my grandfather built this house. This is in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And as you can see up top, this up here, these are called vigas, right? So this is all individual work that my grandpa did. And on the walls, that's called a diamond finish. So it's like a really smooth interior. And this is my house in Santa Fe. So I started living here my junior year of high school. And I grew up with my mom, and of course I saw my dad and stuff like that. And I'm close to my parents for sure. Each of them. I'm trying to see my dad. He lives up in Sandia Park, and he has a beautiful house. Hopefully, if I go live, I'll show you his house too. He's got this huge Christmas room. But yeah, it's right now the weather's been good. Last year when I came out here, the weather was cold. I think it was snowing. McVeigh is at North Carolina. Oh, I appreciate that. That would be a good landing spot for Miles McVeigh. Hey, Dr. Ramu, what's up, man? I appreciate you. Thanks for checking in for the 505, 100%. Emmanuel Henderson. Oh, wow. I didn't see he's visiting Texas A&M. Interesting. Wow. That would be good for him. Wow. And Zachariah Branch going to look at Bama. No, I don't think that Zachariah Branch, I think him and his brother, from what I understand, are a package deal. So I don't think that he's going to come to Bama. So I would take like Zachariah Branch off your Christmas wish list, right? But no, I hope you guys have enjoyed the show today. Remember, all my shows, honestly, like we put a lot into the graphics. It's all from the heart. I'm gonna go try to work on the lighting. Obviously, this isn't the setup that I wanted, but I was glad that I was able to show you the graphics because I feel that's something that I can relate with you guys on in terms of the graphics. And yesterday I was at the airport. I appreciate you guys. I'm with my family, but my work is also it's so important to me. Like I love to do this and I love to interact with you guys, and I sincerely appreciate you giving me the opportunity to be on this platform. And you know what? Like if you have any feedback or you have questions, like I'm open to all of it. And one of the things about me is like if you feel that you want to say something critical, go ahead. Like I'm open to the dialogue inside the comment box or when you guys call on the show, because I know at the end of the day, I promise you, we would be friends and we could sit around the table and we could talk about different points of view. So just because we might disagree on certain topics or whatever, that doesn't mean that, we're not still seeing eye to eye on the top end, which is the success of the Alabama football program. I appreciate you guys so much. My wish for you guys is that you have an amazing Friday. My wish for you is that you get a commitment today and I have to go live from, I don't know, somewhere here in Santa Fe. And I just appreciate you guys. So thank you so much for being here, for hitting the subscribe button and being in every single day that we talk Alabama Crimson Tide football right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Have a beautiful day. Back as news happens. Thank you for watching. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. See you guys.